Odd. That large, fleshy nose of yours looks like a mistake. My skull throbbed. My muscles ached. Memories of the last day swam through my head before taking form. Inside me, an atrocity was growing, feeding on me, becoming me. It was only a matter of days before tentacles split my lips and my skin turned to gore. If I wanted a cure, I must follow protocol, locate a Githyanki creche. At a creche, I would find my kin. The tadpole would be removed, and I would be purified. I sought rest, but an active mind refused me. Images overwhelmed me. The Kithraki attacking the Nautiloid, warring demons and devils, the twitching Gaich tadpole. My head twinged. Was it the tadpole, I wondered? Had I imagined it, or was I soon to turn? I could almost feel its thick skull in my grasp, almost smell its silver blood clog the air. I offered the head to Vlaakith, my queen. She handed me a sword of silver in return. My thoughts turned to courage. A deep sleep soon followed.
Wait. You're one of that lot who were attacking the ship.
Suddenly I saw what she saw, felt what she felt. Distrust, hostility, because I was Gith.
Ah! No. You were on the ship. Captive. I can feel the parasite in your head. No matter. Walk away, Gith. Not a step closer.
Don't die! Don't die! Don't die!
The survivor they were trying to save. It was the Gaich from the ship. My words fell on deaf ears. The creature's hold on them was too strong. I approached the Gaich. The foul thing was at my mercy, and I would have its head. I felt compassion. Compassion? Yes, I felt hate, and I deserved to be punished for it. I should have been whipped, made to bow before this creature in shame. It was possessing my mind, forcing me to love it. But then the feeling slipped. The creature's mind seemed to focus elsewhere. Our minds fused, lusting for something that was gone. But then its grip clawed back with a vengeance, a vice locking my mind into obedience. It needed sustenance to survive, and with my very body I could provide. Warm, wet tentacles wrapped themselves around my head, and for the first time in my life, I was perfectly happy. Selûne, the Moon Maiden. Selûne, Our Lady of Silver. Selûne, Mother of Tides. Selûne, the Night White Lady.
Show some respect. This woman saved your pathetic life.
Well, I didn't ask for any goddamn help.
Please, you were begging me to open the gate. Anything to save yourself, you coward!
I noticed the armored man twitch. He was about to erupt. I stumbled.
Should have done that a long time ago.
Ignore her, kid.
The man's mouth bent downward as he turned, and his thoughts became mine. An unknown face commanded my mind, Rust-red skin, gnarled horns.
I'll be damned to the hells. You were on the ship.
The creature appeared again. Red skin, twisting horns and wings stretching wide behind it. Our minds parted again, leaving my skull throbbing. The child stared past me as if I wasn't there. The child continued staring past me. I didn't spot anything out of the ordinary. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the child move through the rocks. I found the edges of a concealed entrance. No trigger or handle, though. No way to open it. His eyes flicked to mine for an instant, then away, as if it hurt to look at me. Realization dawned. He was describing how to open something. A door?
Got to keep watch, but it's so bright and noisy here. Want to be back in the hideout.
The child reached into the rocks behind him and opened a well-concealed hatch.
You bought something. Most everybody says it looks like junk and moves on. Really? Good thing we met then. Anyway, see you again sometime. Take care. Safe travels.
Just then, I noticed my bags felt lighter than before. I'd been robbed. The rat hesitated just a moment before scurrying over to me. Chittering, he opened his mouth. One of his teeth was badly chipped.
Just a moment. This man is recording my story. I am far from home.
The colourful man yelped in delight and started scribbling. With a shaggy grin, the bear sneaked a look at the page. His brow furrowed. Incomprehensible squiggles surrounded a crude sketch. A bear disemboweling a clutch of tieflings.
Come on. All the druids can understand me. You can. Why can't the man with the pen? I traveled a long way.
The man nodded thoughtfully and added another dismembered limb to his sketch. This grove is kept by Eldath's faithful. By Eldath, guardian of groves, all fear is soothed. By Eldath, mother of the waters, all strife is cleansed. By Eldath, the quiet one, all turmoil is calmed. The forest rose with claw and tooth to tear the darkness from its roots. The murals show druid and beast fighting together to drive monsters from their land. It looked like quite a battle, and yet the monsters had returned. By waters still, 'neath watching trees, a hallowed place for Mother Peace. The scene showed druids blessing the grove for Mother Peace, a term for the blessed goddess Eldath. The fresco showed a powerful group of druids gathered in Eldath's name. I was on sacred ground. In darkest hour, a concord made twixt harp and wild against the shade. Harp and wild? I recalled stories of an alliance between druids and the harpers. Could this have been it? Harpers and druids working together. A formidable force. The towers seized, the battle done. The moonrise broke the darkest one. Darkest one? Moonrise? They meant nothing to me.
Now, as for this Raphael, he knows our secret. He claims he can help. What do you make of him?
anticipation. She was testing me somehow. About Raphael.
No doubts at all. He seemed powerful and very knowledgeable about our problem. Not the worst prospect we've stumbled across. As long as you can look past what he is.
What's that? At the back of the crevice lay a bag covered with spiders. A shiny gold coin poked from its mouth. The creatures clutched the pouch possessively. Was gold so precious to spiders? One by one, the spiders retreated to the rear of the crevice, lulled by my murmurs. I stashed the bag in my pack. Something clinked among the coins. Several spiders rested in the rear of the crevice. The infuriated spiders crossed my hand and scaled my arm. The swarm was coming. This crevice was empty, save a bit of dust. The injured man locked eyes with me. A familiar squirming churned in my head. Our minds intertwined. I saw his siblings, Andric and Brynna, new recruits, mine to shepherd. The man was now dead, but then I noticed a squirming movement under his features. A glistening tadpole emerged, slithering up past a sightless eyeball. The very same as the vile little creature lurking within me. It seemed to curl upwards, as if considering me, but then it shrank back down and started to slither away. I grasped it between my fingers. One squeeze and it would be no more. How could I even think of harming something so beautiful, so pure? I willed myself to crush the life out of the tadpole, but I couldn't do it. The creature was too precious, too beautiful. I deftly dropped the tadpole and crushed it under my heel. The cruel, beaked face of an owlbear loomed out of the darkness. The cub looked from me to his dead mother and let out a plaintive cry. He stood still and chirped sadly. A single blow would end his suffering. Then he let out a feral little squeak and started eating her. I backed away, speechless. The dog tilted his head and whined softly in recognition. He turned and yapped at the corpse, as if to try and wake it. Around the dog's neck was a collar. Etched on it was a name, Scratch. A deep, sad whine escaped from the dog. He bowed his head. The dog looked from his owner with a soft whine. He did not move from the corpse. Apart from an overgrowth of moss, the well looked unremarkable. As the coin disappeared into the well, I heard a soft clink, not a splash. Dry stones lined the wall. At the bottom, something gleamed in the dappled light.
Speak your name.
I did my best to wipe the dirt from my face and look presentable. Adventuring was murder on one's wardrobe, though.
Only a true ally of Ilintoth may pass. What think you of the Zolkir known as Zastam?
I remembered stories of Zastam, a powerful lich in Thay who made deals with dark gods.
Didn't that paint enough of a picture?
Try as I might to breach his inner thoughts, Gale swatted my efforts away with infuriating ease.
I have a very disciplined mind. Those tricks won't work on me.
The book was locked tight, with no keyhole. There was only an angular recess in the cover. Brushing away the dirt of time, I could make out the name etched into the cover. The Necromancy of Thay.
Curious. Why don't you take a closer look? I'll observe from back here.
That looks terribly heavy. Why don't you let me carry it for you?
I have my fair share of experience with dangerous books. I'll, take that off your hands into more prepared ones.
I could feel the book's pull. I could feel its power. My lips moved, speaking a language I didn't understand, and something was trying to reply. The symbols darted beneath my eyes, warping and twisting. My head throbbed, but I almost understood. The world around me was gone. I could only see those glyphs, only hear those voices. The claws tried to grip my hands, tried to stop me, but I slammed the book shut before they could take me. The whispers, the pain, it all disappeared in an instant. I was myself again.
Much obliged.
I watched Gale perusing the book with a true wizard's fascination. A few pages in, something startled him.
A rough read indeed. I'll give it my undivided attention at a more appropriate time.
As I approached, a guttural scream and a succession of quick bangs rattled the door. There was another muffled cry. The two inside were still in the throes of passion.
What the hell are you doing?
Drop the act, hag. You was the last to see Myrina.
Just let her go. Please.
You there? Please, I don't know what's come over these boys. I just want to go home.
The old woman's face creased with false concern. I realized she had lied about seeing this girl, Myrina.
Stop this! We won't ask again!
As I edged closer to the mirror, a pale face appeared, contorted in fear. Fists slammed against the mirror's surface, again and again. I felt crushing waves of fear as the presence within the door recoiled. It couldn't let people through. Not again. I saw the gallery, its walls lined with the hag's victims, their bodies and minds twisted beyond ruin. Flee, I felt it cry. Frustrated, the door rattled. I saw the hag and myself. I lay bleeding as she leaned over me, a smile on her face. Her teeth, a row of deadly needles, shone as they dove into my throat, blood spraying. The door stood silent. Its form flickered, and I realized that the door was transparent. I saw the hag, eyes bright with glee, as she set fire to the door. With a jerk, I was pulled from the vision. The presence within shrunk, begging me not to run through it.
I see it! I see what's to come.
I realized there was magic at work. Some type of spell, an illusion.
Me. Dead. Dead! Flesh rotten, bone shining!
You better learn your place. Go on. Kiss more foot. Or I'll kick your head in, slugface. Ugh. Look, mate, just piss off. You're not welcome here.
The The goblin stared, mouth agape. Then he set his jaw and fell to his knees.
There. I've done it.
You ready? Brace yourself. This'll sting. Hold still.
As the pain muddled my thoughts, our minds became entangled. A familiar sensation. She too carried a parasite. Her faith flooded into me, a tide of shuddering ecstasy. Her tadpole nestled within that mania, secure, hidden.
I feel you in there, digging around. Works both ways. And I saw some weird shadows swimming around in your head just now. Maybe I can help with that. Us true souls gotta look out for one another. Ready to clear your head? Smart. All you need to do is open yourself to the Absolute. And I'll do the rest.
Psionic feelers crept across my mind, like a pickpocket's fingers seeking flaws in fabric.
It's all slippery in there. What are you hiding?
An image of the Mindflayer I'd encountered reached out to her from...
Hells! We need to fish that thing out before it eats any important parts of your brain. Don't you worry. I've got everything I need to fix you. Might get a bit messy, though. You won't regret this. Being a true soul, you know the Absolute don't like to touch nothing unclean. So drink this. It'll purify ya.
I recognized telltale flecks of werejackal blood. This was a potion of sleep.
I ain't deceiving nobody. I'm trying to help. I guess we're doing this the hard way, then. Sweet dreams. You might have put up a fight in another life, freak. But not in this one. Not likely. You're forgetting one thing. I've got the Absolute to protect me. But you're on your own. Nothing more than a skin suit for that monster inside you. You're gonna be my new pet. A ferocious squiddy. All for myself.
I tested the weight of the chains, looking for weak points. The chains snapped as I expanded my chest.
You want me to torture him? Forget it!
Then forget your precious lady, mate, and slink out of here!
No, please!
I became one with Wyll. Shame gripped him as he considered the tools at his disposal. Wyll paused, then took a hot poker and held it against the man's leg. The prisoner howled, and the stench of charred flesh filled the room.
Stop! Please! Please! Stop this!
Wyll responded by grabbing the tongs and yanking the nail from the prisoner's thumb.
Please, please. We... to the east. Past the ruins, on the bridge. They covered the gate with ivy.
The grove? No!
His eyes rolled back as he slumped forward. The battered man hung slack from his chains, barely breathing. The man coughed hard, but his eyes shot open and the color returned to his cheeks.
Get away. Please. No more.
Praise his ever-bleeding axe. Praise his throne of flaming iron. Praise Maglubiet.
I knew of Maglubiet, a tyrannical deity who treated his goblinoid followers as slaves.
Trying to interrupt my prayers? Scared of a real god? Shugan al Shukok, or Tashokek Dor! I command you, corpse. Speak. Reveal truth to the Absolute! Nothing. Must be reading it wrong. Shugan al Shukok!
The hobgoblin turned to me, and the parasite squirmed in my skull.
A gift.
I tasted the ale on his tongue and the bile in his soul.
Guess it doesn't matter what you are. You're a true soul. And that's good enough for me.
He didn't speak his next words, yet they still rattled my skull from within.
You ever talk to a dead squid? Now's your chance. Found the squiddy near that tentacle ship. Absolute wants to know who killed it and ran off. And who better to tell us than the corpse?
My skull sizzled with Ragzlin's displeasure. His mouth was still, but I heard his demand.
I speak for the Absolute, and I say, you stay. I've got plans for you, lass. And there's no true soul yet who turned their back on the Absolute.
I choked on black smoke as the hobgoblin screeched his incantation.
I command you, corpse. Speak and say sooth. Lucan ok al koldek shulko kek.
The hideous corpse rose, tentacles writhing. My heart seized. What if the creature noted my presence at the crash site? Ragzlin's mind resisted my penetration. He spoke his first question.
Talk to me, freak. Who killed you?
The creature responded. Not in words, but memories. I saw a clawed hand open a holding pod, devoid of flesh, only darkness.
Damn it! That tells me nothing!
The corpse gazed at me and awaited the next question. Ragzlin's thoughts roiled, then stilled. My words would be his. I navigated carefully. With Ragzlin's voice, I asked,
What were you doing in Faerun?
Again, visions flowed through me. A swarm of Githyanki dragon riders, silver blades held high, control panels melting, flesh pods spilled open.
Gith on the hunt. They know something.
It was like fireworks in my skull. His trust was quickly waning.
You, Gith, what do you know about this dead squiddy? I am the Absolute's right hand. I will stand for no lies. Right hand, huh? Sounds like word spreading. You're right. You're a real true soul. I felt it.
The corpse collapsed, silent once more.
No, I'm not done!
A glassy black surface, reflecting my gaze back at me. As I gazed deeper, I felt a focus, an intent. The eye stared, unblinking, just a dark mirror once more.
Silence now, creature, or I will silence you forever.
As she turned to me, her thoughts mingled with mine, a cold hand caressing my brain.
A true soul? Praise be. Are you here to join my hunt? Worshippers of a false god. Their existence is an insult to the Absolute's claim on this region. The thief, whimpering in our dungeon, tried to flee to their sanctuary. We will continue to remove parts of him until he tells us exactly where it is. He's been resilient, but he'll talk.
I quickly pieced together her plan. The sanctuary she was seeking was the grove I'd visited.
Speak, true soul. The hunt must begin soon. You are sure? And how did you find it? Praise be. And now, through her will, you can be my eyes.
Her mind entered mine, a splinter of ice piercing my memories. Tiefling faces flickered into view as she attempted to learn the grove's location.
Destroying this place is the Absolute's will. Would you defy her?
She saw the entrance to the grove as the adventurers retreated inside, joining the tieflings, and then smiled serenely as blood and shadow spread like stains across my memory, erasing all that lived there.
The cowards found refuge among the desperate. Perfect. If the inhabitants do not realize you are the knife at their throats, we can use that against them. Go to their refuge and make your way inside. As a friend.
These creatures would take our lives, our children, our future, and we must resist!
A splinter of ice worked its way into my mind. I heard the drow's voice, as if she were by my side.
A pretty speech. It almost brings a tear to my eye. Now slit his throat and open that gate. The Absolute wants all of them dead.
What are you doing? They'll kill us all! Hells, you're with them, aren't you?
Praise the Absolute. She will reward us well for this exquisite carnage. The true honor is to serve the Absolute. She loves you fiercely. I see that in the strength she has given you. And she has so much more to give.
The tadpole thrashed violently in my brain. My blood hummed. I was changing.
This is the Absolute's reward. You will do great things. There is a bond between us, true soul. I can see what you are, what you want, and you can see what I want.
Through her eyes, I saw myself, skin glistening with sweat, hands bound, ecstasy or terror, maybe both. I felt her breath on my neck, her fingers running down my spine, and then it was over.
I will come to your camp tonight. We will celebrate this victory together.
I assure you, I've dreamt of it 1,000 times over.
Volo carefully held one of my eyes open and began to prod uncertainly with the needle. The needle found the gap between eyeball and socket. Volo frowned and began to push. Pain shot through my body as the needle snagged on my optic nerve.
I think I have it!
The needle seesawed back and forth, plucking the nerve like a harp string.
Oh, bother. There's some obstacle in the way. I shall need a more robust implement.
Volo carefully withdrew the needle from my eye. Then, reaching into his bag, he produced an ice pick. Volo slowly brought the ice pick closer to my eye.
Now, don't move.
Cold metal pressed against the skin beneath my brow and then... tap, tap, stab.
Do you feel that? Ha! I think we have the blighter on the run. I agree. It's a feisty critter. Just a little further.
Volo tore the pick from my brain with a violent jerk. My eye plopped to the ground.
Drat.
He paused to look down at my eye as it sank into the mud and recoiled slightly. The beast reeked of brimstone and offal. Every breath was thick with blood. I heard what came next before I saw it. The sharp snapping of bones and a yelp of pain as her body started to twist and undulate. I watched with cold realization. This was the end of one life, but the start of another. Gnolls, vicious, monstrous humanoids, could spawn from the corpses of dying hyenas. I landed a swift strike against her skull. She yelped, then went completely silent. As the life faded from her eyes, the gnoll within her died too, stillborn. With a shock of psychic pain, the pack leader's mind clamped onto mine. I saw myself through her eyes. A pulsing red cluster of organs. Feast! No. The voice had forbidden this meat. Gnolls saw our whole world as a meal. I realized this voice was acting as a leash, but it wouldn't hold them for long. In the cave, anxious hearts throbbing, ready to burst, ready to gorge on, the voice said they were meat. The meat was trapped, terrified, but protected by fire. When the fire died, so would the meat. Deep in the chaos of her mind, something responded to my command. A tadpole. It was the source of the voice. She would obey it. She would obey me. She was still ravenous, her mind a hungry pit. The flesh of the survivors hadn't been enough to satisfy her. The meat here was forbidden. She sniffed the air, then bounded away to terrorize someone else. I was swallowed by a chorus of turbulent music. Through one creature sang many voices, the harmony of an entire collective.
Sovereign, she has come. She is here.
The choir faded. A single melody rose above the others, brassy and commanding.
I am sovereign.
I saw a vision. My lifeless body wrapped in fungal tendrils. The Sovereign was threatening me.
State your purpose.
Fungal roots wove through my mind, seeking my true intent. Then the Sovereign droned a new melody, cautious but welcoming. The persistent music coaxed me forward. The Sovereign expected me.
Flesh Talker, I show you a memory. Watch and
and listen.
A violent vision gripped me. Dwagar, dark dwarves, chopping Myconid remains.
They broke our peace. They killed our young.
The Sovereign's song slowed to the pace of a dirge. It was still in mourning.
We laid waste to many, but intruders remain. Lakewood.
The Sovereign's song halted as it measured my worth.
I sense your resolve. You will find Dwagar invaders near Lake's edge. Cleanse the rot. Destroy them.
Deep purples swirled into familiar shapes. Gnomes in mining gear chased by Dwagar.
The Dwagar seek a gnome. It is a guest.
It replied with an echoing screech and a vision of a limp youngling. It greeted me with a harrowing elegy, cheerless as the new moon. The Sovereign gifted me a vision, a stone door creaking open to reveal glowing light.
Riches of magic and mind. Cleanse the rot, and they are yours. You do the circle a service. We will await word.
Ah, a visitor. You're a welcome sight. But let us observe the customs of the locals.
The scholar's brow tensed. His voice spilled into my skull as the spores connected our minds.
Blurg, proud member of the Society of Brilliance, at your service. Or perhaps not. Your mind is far more complex than the fungi.
Open your mind. Let us see what lurks within.
The moment Omeluum's mind pierced mine, the tadpole pulsed with power. It felt 10 times its size, alive, awake, almost smug.
Reach into memory. Tell me of home.
It shivered, overwhelmed by alien sights, and revealed its own home, a humid cove filled with decaying Myconid corpses.
Dwagar destroyed my people. I am a sovereign with no circle. This circle does not welcome me. No. I feel the fair's rest fading. I cannot leave the Underdark.
The Fair's Rest was the energy of the Underdark. The Myconid might die if isolated from it. A flimsy raft wobbled on the lake's murky waters. As I neared the rubble, a fragmented voice clutched at my mind.
A true soul. This is near. Tell those imbeciles to hurry up. I am choking on poison!
Trousseau, would you do the honors and dispose of these dissidents?
That is not an option.
He grasped my mind and pried it open. Rage flooded my senses. I had to kill. Tear the gnomes apart, laugh as their blood showered me and filled me with life. For a terrible moment, my hand twitched. Then the rage subsided. I was in control.
Dwagar, kill this one! Show you aren't useless and I will let you live!
His neck was broken from the fall, but his mouth opened as he looked at me.
Jumped to escape. Broken.
The corpse had answered all the questions it could. It fell silent. The corpse was decomposing but intact. Its mouth fell open as it turned to look at me.
Toll Collector, Martin.
The corpse grew still. It would no longer respond to my questions. The drow's corpse twitched as the magic took hold.
House Vandry. Farscout. Searching. Quick path. To surface.
The drow could no longer be compelled to speak.